mode.
All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to Nadex. My name is Philip and I will be your presenter for today's webinar, Live Trading with Nadex Contracts. Very short introduction to our trading strategies, and then we will directly head over to the live markets and see what's going on in those markets right now. If you have a look at your webinar interface, you can see that small questions box, and please make heavy use of that box. Let me know anything that's on your mind. Any questions, any markets, any specifics, we're here to help you. We're providing education, and therefore, if there's anything on your mind, you have any questions, please let me know. Right now, I would appreciate a very short yes or why in that small box to just let me know that both the audio and the screencast are working properly. Perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Today's webinar is scheduled to run for about 1 hour, and of course, before we get started, there are our usual risk disclaimers that I need to make you aware of. So please take your time to read through them carefully and make sure that you're okay with them. Essentially, this says the trading, of course, involves risk, and you should understand these risks and the instruments you are using before you're getting active in the market. Neither Trade with Precision or myself are investment advisors, and therefore nothing we say should be considered to be actual investment advice. All examples are shown for educational purpose only. So, in brief, we provide education. So make sure you're okay with this before continuing with the webinar. And that being said, here, of course, is again the Nadex risk warning. I leave it here for just a moment, so please read through that one as well. All right, lots of markets to be watched, so let's get started. Who are we, guys? Trade with Precision has been founded by Nick McDonald, quite well known in the market, in 2006 to provide education for retail traders. Essentially, we have been founded by corporate demand. Nick was trading his own account back in the day, and his broker approached him and said, Nick, couldn't you please teach our other customers the way you are trading? And this is how everything got started. Nick never had the intention in the first place to really build this education company. And no way to even dream about what Trade with Precision would be nowadays. We are providing international trader training for clients of global brands, including exchanges, just like Nadex, and brokers worldwide. And we started our cooperation with Nadex back in 2011. You will have realized by now that I'm not a professional presenter. I'm very sorry about that, but I'm a professional trader. And this is true for all my colleagues here at Trade with Precision. We are a company run by traders for traders. We trade those very same strategies. We are using the very same setups that I want to show you today in the markets in our own accounts every single day. We are trading with our own money. So we talk the talk, we walk the walk, we put our money where our mouth is. The nice thing about our trading strategies is those strategies are applicable on any time frame and on any market. And so it's just a natural fit also, of course, to be trading those strategies here with binary options. Binary options, Nadex, a derivatives exchange subject to regulatory oversight by the CFTC, which means it's well regulated. It's not in some gray area or whatever. It's really as transparent, just like any other exchange in the United States, and it's just transparency and solidity. Formed in 2007, and just like all the other great financial institutions based in Chicago. Futures market, options market. If you think about those markets and exchanges, it's always Chicago. The contracts are all settled in cash, no physical delivery. Very nice if you think about that if you don't roll your future position early on, and if you slip those rollover dates, there's a fair chance, depending on the contract you've been trading, that suddenly a truck pulls up next to your house and suddenly there's a huge delivery of bushels of soy or cotton or barrels of oil, whatever. No such risk when you're trading binary options here at Nadex. You have access to a wide range of global markets, and The two instruments you can be trading here at Nadex are binary options and spreads. Now, nowadays, of course, it's very important that you have access to your trading platform and to the markets not only when you're sitting in front of your desk, but also at your computer at your desk, of course, but also, of course, if you're on the go. Mobile becoming more and more important, and so it's very powerful features. Nadex has you covered. Independent if you're running a Windows phone or Android or iOS device, there's a platform available for you there. You gain fast, secure, and flexible access to binary options and spreads. The most popular markets are available in real time, customizable charts, view open positions, working orders, account balances. You just have access to your account no matter where you are. Now, today's agenda. Live trading on the Nadex platform. And if I say live trading, guys, please keep in mind it's educational in purpose. So just because I'm showing you something and I call certain setups bullish, bearish, I do not suggest that you take those trades. It's your money, it's your call. I can't make any recommendations. I just want to let you know what's going on inside my head. So please be sure to understand and accept that even if I like something, this is by no means ever a trade recommendation. Binaries are a very powerful instrument, but it's just that, it's an instrument, and you have to know when to use that instrument and what is the proper context to be using that instrument. Which means I need a trading strategy that gives me a potential edge in the market and that defines for me which kind of setups I'm looking for in those markets. We're looking for reasons why we want to place those trades. It's price, action, and strategy. We're looking for good setups, and then a binary might just be the perfect instrument to place that trade, to trade that setup. But it's always a setup that we're looking for. The market scan, we're looking at the US indices, currencies, and of course lots of commodities. I've prepared a watch list with all the markets available here on Nadex, and we'll just see how fast and how quickly we can go through this watch list. One market which is, at least for me currently, especially interesting, and I want to spend a good bunch of my time showing you why I find this market so interesting, but we'll just see. And by all means, if you have questions on specific markets or want me to spend some time more on one or the other, just let me know. Our strategies are always trend following strategies, which means those we want to see good, strong trends in the markets. And those trends provide us with the proper context for our strategies to work in. And with our strategies, we have precise entry and exit levels. We're looking for support and resistance. And once we get all this down and know that this is a good tradable setup, a high probability setup, you will never know that it's a 100% setup. It never can be. That's just part of trading. You will always have losing trades. This is why it's so important to have risk under control. And binary options really shine when it comes to risk control, because you know your risk up front. You know exactly how much you can lose even before you place that trade. All right. The trade strategy setups discussed here are directly from the Nadex Advanced Education course. I want to close this session later on with a short introduction about what you can expect when you attend this Nadex Advanced Education course. Good news is, if you are already a customer, a member here at Nadex, and you've signed up for this webinar, you will get an email once this Advanced Education course will be online next, and you have the possibility to sign up then. Completely free, and you guys can absolutely relax. I don't want to sell you anything today, no fancy indicators, no nothing. It's all about the platform and looking at the markets. So if we're looking at the market, we are scanning for two different possible setups and trading strategies that we want to see. And the first one, and I grab my laser pointer to show you better what I'm looking for here, is we can see on this 1 hour chart, 60 minutes, that price has broken down, and then it has recovered, and now it's just going a little bit sideways. But the overall picture that we can see here is price is coming down. It's a downtrend, and while we are here in the sideways phase, you can see the price has established the lower flat level. We have a precise touch of this level here. We have already some occurrences here with those two candles of this exact level, but the first really precise touch that we get is here. Here was a very close call. Here we had a second touch, and here we had a third touch of this horizontal flat level. Now this is a very good indication that this level is important, and the more touches we get of that level, the more important this level will become in the future. Further, we can see the price is compressing more and more against this flat level. The pullbacks, the highs that we get here, are always a little bit lower than before, and we can see here that looking at our indicators, this is MACD and this is RSI, you can see that our indicators are already starting to pick up a little bit of momentum. And so this is what we're looking for. We want to trade the breakout of this flat level here to the downside. Very short, very brief introduction. You will get all this and lots of detail in the advanced course, of course. And so really, it's about the big picture. We're looking to trade the breakout of a flat level. And because we expect to get some good momentum of this breakout, we call it the momentum breakout strategy. The second type of setup that we're looking for is the trend flow. Again, we're looking for a market which is trending, a market with a good, strong trend. And we're looking here at a 2-minute chart. And you can see price is pushing higher. It's obviously an uptrend. We're getting higher highs and higher lows all along the way. Clearly an uptrend. That this is a good, strong, healthy uptrend can also be seen if we look at our moving averages. We have a 10 period, 20 and 50 period moving average. We're also adding 200 for a really long-term overview. And what we would like to see is really this fanning pattern, as we call it. You can see here good separation between those moving averages. There are no crosses like here, no uncertainty like here. It's good, steady, continuous buying action. And this can be easily seen just looking at the structure of those moving averages. So, beautiful uptrend, and our price has just pulled back here into our buy zone, the area close to and between the 10 and 20 period moving averages. But this is not enough. We want every of those factors which I now have mentioned, and there are more, helps us to stack the odds of a favorable trade outcome just a little bit more, ever so slightly in our favor. And we want to get even further confirmation that this might be a good trade setup, and we get this from looking at the next higher time frame. We wanted to trade the 2-minute chart. Now we look at the 5-minute chart for confirmation. And the picture we get here on the 5-minute chart for the very same market is essentially just the same thing. Beautiful uptrend, even smoother and cleaner than what we see here. Obviously, we are rising. We are still here very close to our buy zone. A bit rolling over, but nothing too severe. We are not overextended, very close. Good, strong momentum, no major divergence showing up. So all this together, again, looks like a good setup here for our trend flow strategy. All right. I know it's been really high level. Any questions so far on those two strategies? All right, we seem to be good. So I would now just take the opportunity to switch over to my chart and just show you guys what I'm currently seeing here in the market. And I think you should now be able to see my chart. All right, so what do we see here? I would like to kick off this live commentary part with silver. I think silver currently is really, really interesting. And you see already, I have here the daily chart, the weekly chart, and the monthly chart. And I always like to start, at least from a high-level perspective, with the monthly chart to just get a proper picture what has been going on there. Also, where are certain key levels where the market might be trading and which might be interesting. So you can see that when silver had been trading here around the 50 level, in about 2011, since then, price has come down and has come down significantly. But just recently, we had seen a change in trend here on the monthly chart, which means we have now started to make new higher highs, definitely new higher highs, if we take this high here or that high there, it's definitely now that we have made a new higher high. And this push higher clearly occurred on good, strong momentum. You see that the 16 level here has been cleared. We pushed higher, we came back, tested it again, and pretty much the same instant pushed higher the next month. And so currently looking really, really rather bullish from the monthly chart here. And you can see those moving averages now start to turn. They start to cross. I don't care about the cross. We are not trading crosses with our strategies. It's just as long as I see something like here, I know it's a bearish setup. I know I want to trade this market here to the downside. And just as it happens to be, if you see this horizontal level here, we have 1 touch, 2 touches, 3 touches. We have a series of declining, falling lower highs. And now as we break out of this level here to the downside, this is exactly the type of trade that we're looking for our momentum breakout strategy. And you see, you can identify those setups even here on the monthly chart. So no matter what the time frame is, price action, human behavior always is the same. And yeah, if you just want to trade the monthly chart, that would have been a trading opportunity. Now, we're changing here to definitely to upside momentum. So the overall picture here from the monthly is bullish. If I switch over now to the weekly chart, and let me make this a little bit larger, you already start to see that the weekly now is clearly in an uptrend. And in this uptrend, you can see this push higher, and you see this pull back. And you can see a small bullish candle setting up here in our 10-20 period moving average buy zone. On the weekly chart, this would have been a very nice trend flow trade, a trade that has been called out by one of our members here at Trade with Precision on our video newsletter before as a live trade. So definitely not hindsight trading here. That trade has been on our list. Nice push higher. Currently, we're a bit overextended, and it looks like we're pulling back. So again, this is the weekly chart. Now let's look at the daily chart. Obviously, very nice move to the upside. We have a high, we have a higher low, we have made clearly a new higher high, and now this pullback is just on its way. And this pullback here takes us now back into the buy zone. We are still a bit overextended on the weekly chart, so currently I don't see this buying opportunity here. I think it's still a little bit too early. Now, what might be an interesting price level in silver for a potential buying opportunity? And again, I do not suggest that you buy at this level. It's just stuff I'm thinking about, and you have to arrive at your own conclusion. Sorry about that. I now just draw in my fib levels, and I draw in my fib level from this swing point low to this swing point high over here. And I do this another time. I do again a fib study, but now I do it from the previous swing point low, and I do it to the same swing point high. And what you can see here right now is that the first fib study, the 50% retracement, and the second study with a 38.2% retracement, they cluster. They happen to be roughly at the same price level, which is round about 19.15. And this level, therefore, for me, is a little bit more interesting than the others. So my big plan here on silver on the daily chart might be, if we get this pullback even further and I get a small bullish candle setting up here very close to this 19.15, 17, 18 level, around about that, I might be really interested to consider a long position. Now, this is the daily chart, and all right, but now obviously we are in a pullback. Usually I want to be trading always in the direction of the daily chart, but let's just drop down with our time frames and see if something is going on there. So clearly the trend on the weekly and the bullish is up, but we see currently a retracement going on, and that retracement could still take a little while. So let's drop down in our time frames and have a look here at our 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, and 8 hour charts. And you can see that this short retracement that has been setting up on the daily chart, on those lower time frames, this looks like a really strong and well-established downtrend already. And it was funny, I was watching the setup just 2 hours before this webinar when I prepared everything, and I dropped with my time frames now down even lower to show you guys a 5-minute chart. And this 5-minute chart really is just 2 hours back then. Please ignore the time zone and time frames. It's my local time, which is obviously something else than you guys in Chicago have. But this is just 2 hours old. This is current market price. And while I was watching this setup, I noticed that there's a flat level here. Let's make this level a little bit larger, so that becomes more pronounced. Let's just put up the weight. All right, that's the flat level. And we already can see we had some reaction to this level a little bit here, not a precise touch, but something happened here. Something started to happen here, and now we get precise touches. The first touch here at the first blue arrow, the second blue touch here at the second blue arrow, and the third touch here at the third blue arrow. And it's always precisely that level. We dip below, and then suddenly price starts to drop lower. And if you look here at what MACD has been doing just around this third touch, you can see that momentum both in MACD and RSI has started to pick up to the downside. A very important factor when looking for this kind of trading opportunity. We want to see that price is really, that momentum is picking up. We want to see convergence on our indicator momentum and price action. So I was watching this market. Personally, part of my trading rules is if I see or if I run a webinar in a certain time window, I'm not trading. I know that it takes away my concentration and I'm not as focused, and therefore I was watching this and I really wished I would have traded that one. But due to this webinar preparation, no, I didn't place that trade. But obviously you can see wonderful, wonderful trade and really just a few hours old. That's what you're looking for. And by the way, it doesn't make sense to really then abandon a potential trading setup like that. We now had this breakout, but you see we get a pullback here, nice small bearish candle, very close to the sell zone, and off it goes after that. And we get again a pullback. I don't like the candle size that we're getting here. Smaller would be preferable, and down we go. So usually good strong trends provide you with multiple trading opportunities. Now, how could this have been traded? Obviously, if you were to trade the future, you would just have shorted the future here. A good stop loss location for this setup would have been above the swing point high, which would have been approximately here. If you were more aggressive, then this would have been the stop loss location with a 1-to-1 profit target approximately here, and a 2-to-1 profit target here. But how could you have traded that with binary options? Again, absolutely straightforward. If you switch over to the Nadex platform, you can see that you have those different option contracts here, those different strike prices. This is now the daily expiry cycle with about 4 hours left. You could have easily also traded here the 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. session. And I would have picked, remember, if you buy something, if you buy a contract here, you're speculating the price will be at this level or above. If you sell this contract, your speculation is that it will trade below this value. Below the strike price that you've picked here. Now, what I would have done is I would have taken a potential area here of my first profit target, which happens to be pretty close to 19.75, something like that. And I would have picked that trade or that strike price. This is an option which is in the money, which means currently the market is trading higher than that. And therefore, the price of this binary contract probably would have been something around, I'm not sure, maybe something around 70, 80, something like that. Now, I would have sold that contract. My potential risk per contract would have been now something like $20 to $30, with a potential gain of $70 to $80 per contract. And once we saw this breakout and prices really start to break lower, of course, the value of that option would have come down very fast and very quickly. Faster with the option with the shorter expiry cycle, the one 8 a.m. till 10 a.m. The other one reacting a little bit slower because there's more time until expiry. So you have to understand which time cycle, which expiry cycle you want to pick there. If you expect a sharp move or if it's rather a slow decline, a slow move. With this momentum breakout type of trade, I'm usually looking rather more for shorter time frames, which give me a faster reaction to price once this move actually starts to happen and to occur. The nice thing about binaries here at Nadex is that you don't really have to wait until expiry to get the result of your trade. Let's just assume I sold that contract here for $70 and it started to drop and now it's trading at $40. I could just close that position now. I could just buy this contract back for $40 and I have made $30 on a contract at initial risk of also $20 to $30. A one-to-one reward to risk trade for a very short trade which just lasted maybe half an hour or an hour, something like that. So this is a great way to really use those binaries. But please understand, first we saw the setup. First we saw that there really something is setting up. Silver might still, although bullish on the weekly and daily time frames, currently it's due for a correction. And therefore this trading setup here on the 5-minute chart made sense. And if you look at those other time frames, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, they are all in this downtrend. They are all already started to push lower. So we had at least 3 time frames in agreement to support that trading decision. I was really happy when I saw that setup because it's really just a great example of exactly what we do here at Trade with Precision. Those are the setups that we're looking for, and yeah, it just occurred 2 hours before we got started. Now, David has been asking a question. Just let me read it quickly. What is the indicator for the moving average lines? Thanks, no problem. David, we're just using plain normal moving averages. We are using a 10-period moving average, which is the black one. We're using a 20-period moving average, which is the blue one. Red is a 50 and green is a 200. It doesn't matter if you use a simple moving average or an exponential moving average. We always suggest our students to try both. Play around with them, get a feeling for how they react, but then just stick with what you like best and then just go with it. It doesn't really matter if it's an exponential or a simple moving average in the way that we are using those moving averages. We just are looking for this fanning pattern, which means here when I see a pattern like that, 250, 20, 10, good separation, fanning, spreading out, I know that this is a good and strong, healthy trend to the downside. This is what I'm looking for. And this picture wouldn't look that much different if this was an exponential moving average, for example. So everything we do is not rocket science. It's just good old plain logical thinking and combining different factors and stacking the odds in our favor. So no big secret here about those moving averages. All right, so this is the silver setup that I wanted to show you guys. Obviously, strong move to the downside. 30-minute is now overextended, as is the 60-minute chart. And by no means, yes, this was a high probability setup. And I hope I explained why this was really such an attractive setup here for me. And but by no means was I able to know that this would be this great roaring trade that it ended up being. It could have been a losing trade, and that's just part of the game, and that's why risk management is so important. And risk management is absolutely crucial because you want your trades to be comparable. You want to understand that if your trading system has a statistical edge, that edge can only develop over a large sample set of trades, and those trades have to be comparable. And that's the great thing about those Nadex contracts. You have really, you know in advance how much you can risk or how much you're risking with this one contract and this one order that you're raising. And another good aspect of that is here at Nadex you get market orders with protection, which means if you put in a market order, you see, let's just go back to the silver chart to outline that point, for example. Right here you see silver, this is my level, I want to trade this level. And once you hit this level, you just put in your, for example, your market order. Of course, you could have also done already a limit order on that one, but you just raise that order, market order, and you're good to go. If the market now moves really, really fast, just like it did here, from here to whoosh there in no time, usually you have the risk of really high slippage, which means you see the market trading at 50. Next thing you know is you get an order execution at 20 because the market moved so fast. And that's where the market order with protection here at Nadex kicks in. If you put in a market order and you get just a partial fill on that market order, there's some kind of safety net, which means if you don't get an execution around the next, I think, $10 range of that current option price, that order won't be executed any longer. So no way that you put in that order at 50 and suddenly realize, wait, I got an execution at 20. How can that be? Read up about it on the Nadex website. Great explanation and tutorials there. And I'm pretty sure everybody at Nadex will be more than happy to answer your specific questions about that there as well. Just another great way to really counter problems that you might have with conventional instruments in other markets. Slippage can be a huge issue, and that's just another way how this can be controlled here, just around the execution way and how this is being treated here at Nadex. All right, silver definitely staying on my watch list and interested to see what's going on there in the next time. And as I said, if we get this correction to around about 1915 to 1920, roundabout with a small bullish candle here, I might become interested in entering a long position there. But that's just me. Your assessment might be completely different. All right, that's silver. As we are here now with silver, let's just have a look at gold, because huge correlation, but obviously it's not really the same thing. You can see that correction here in gold already started to be much deeper, much more pronounced. This move to the upside on the weekly, not as enthusiastic and pronounced as we had it in silver. They're moving in the same direction, but it's definitely worth to check those different markets for potential trading opportunities. Right now, I think this pullback has been already rather deep here in gold, and I'm not really that much interested. If we were to call this here already a new, this level here around about a new low, we now already have corrected 100% to that movement, not really a sign of strength here for gold. From those precious metals, I'm definitely more interested in silver at the time being. Talking about markets with high correlation, and you've seen that small message box which informed me that currently the stock markets have opened. So let's have a look at those index futures. Here we have the S&P 500 futures, and it's just the same thing as with gold and silver that we saw just now. It makes sense to watch those different markets. It makes sense to watch the S&P 500, Nasdaq, Russell, and the Dow futures, of course. Now let's have a look at what we can see here on the S&P 500. Huge move up. This sideways phase was pretty much for all about 2015. This was pretty volatile. I was about to say scary, but not really that scary. But we definitely made new lower lows here, and those new lower lows are being now followed here by new higher highs. From a trend reading perspective, that's not really something where you say the trend is clear. Currently, it's looking like more bullish momentum, but I don't really like it that much. At least here on, we have momentum, but the trend is not really that clear. Looking at the weekly chart, you can see that those highs here, and let me just draw in this level for you. you can see that this has been ever so slightly, but this has been a lower high. And this low here has definitely been a lower low. So lower high, lower low, technically at that point it was a downtrend. Now we pushed higher to make a new higher high. Technically you could start to call this a low, but then we had another lower low here. What I just want to say is, yes, I know we are rising, prices are going up. I don't really like this market. It's I have no idea what's going on there, and I probably still think too much about fundamentals and the economy in total. And yeah, just looking at the chart, lower low being followed by a higher high, it's not that great. And if we look now at the daily, we can see we are about to roll over here, and I think a pullback at least here into those levels might be interesting. Why not use the same approach that we did before and look if we get a FIB cluster somewhere? We put on those FIB retracements from the recent swing point lows to the recent swing point high, and yeah, not really a great cluster setting up here. It's pretty much messed up, lots of numbers and stuff. We'll make it a little bit larger. I don't really get a good cluster. Nothing really shouting to me here, which suggests that I might have a good area of confluence where a nice trading opportunity might be waiting. So I don't really like that market. Yes, I assume we will have a short-term rollover and push to the downside. Now it might make sense to check then again those lower time frames to see if we get a nice setup for this pullback. But already here, and you can see this chart structure here, the 1 hour chart, it's not really clear what's going on here. I don't want to trade that chart. I don't have a clue what's going on. Yes, we pushed higher, but now we just got started there, and no, I don't like it. It's just a mess. Compare this with the chart structure that we got from silver. Those are the markets that I want to trade. Now, you see, S&P 500, we've been trading pretty close to those levels, and now we just pushed higher. If we compare this right now with the Russell 2000, and doing this also on a weekly chart, and I zoom out a little bit here, you can see that it is a completely different picture. You can see that we have made a high here around, when was it? It was, yeah, pretty much a year ago, 27th of June 2015. And since then, we pulled back deeper than in the S&P 500. We made clearly a new lower high. In the S&P 500, it was ever so slightly. Clear new lower low. S&P 500 again, just by a hair. Now we started to push higher. But still, we are far away from this previous high that we saw here in the Russell, roundabout, what is roundabout? I can give it you exactly, 1271.4. And we're still at least 70 points away from that high in the Russell. So if I assume that in the future we might see some more bearish price action, my assumption would be that the Russell probably will tank more heavily than the S&P 500, for example. So I really like to have a look at those different markets, and even though highly correlated, just to get a good feeling about what's going on in those markets. And once I've picked my general direction that I want to be trading, I just pick the instrument which is working best for this. Nasdaq and YM, which is the Dow, are really just pretty much in line, pushing higher, much cleaner picture here. Again, just for example, like in the S&P 500. So yeah, what's especially interesting here on the Dow is, of course, this very clear and pronounced 18,000 level. So if we get a pullback and get a pullback here with a buying opportunity just on top of this 18,000 level, that might add further interest and further attractiveness to this potential setup. So keep those levels in mind. Usually it's a good indication if you're watching the news and it's news, it's a station and a news program that never mentions the market, you can be pretty sure once the Dow approaches 20,000 and breaks 20,000, this will be all across the news. And those levels have high visibility, and people have orders waiting there. People are waiting for those levels. Those levels get noticed, and those play a role in decision making. So therefore, we want to have those levels on our chart. And if I have a trading opportunity now, which gives me protection here by this 18,000 level, not as a high visibility as potentially 20,000, but on the radar screen of quite a lot of people as well. Or if you look at the German stock market, for example, the DAX, the Germany 30, it's really the same thing. Currently trading around the 10,000 level, everybody and their dog is watching this 10,000 level. And it's always if it breaks below 10,000 or if it breaks above 10,000. But if it's then approaching 11,000, nobody cares that much. But 10,000, 4 zeros in the figure, always high visibility. So have those levels on your chart, and apart from just being this big round number, you can see the market definitely has reacted to this level here before. So getting a pullback now just on top of that level, and let's just do another of those FIB studies to see if we have a cluster around 10,000. Not perfect, but you see that this retracement here, the 38.2% retracement, is very close to this 8,000 level. And let's add another one from this swing point low here. Yeah, the 61.8 is sitting at 17,986. So definitely some kind of cluster setup building there at the 18,000 level. So once the Dow pulls back and approaches 18,000, I might be interested to look into potential long trading opportunities now. Even if it's an uptrend right now, let me get rid of those FIB studies so you can just see more. Even if it's an uptrend right now, I'm not interested in buying this market here. I think we are overextended. Could we go higher? Sure. But I think the probability that we will see now a pullback here to those equilibrium levels between our 10 and 20 period moving average, I think that this pullback is more likely, and I can probably get a better trading opportunity around those levels. So that's the idea here. Already a little bit pressed for time. So let's just have a look at some currencies. Let's have a look at cable, for example. British pound against the US dollar. And obviously, now, just one thing. This huge spike that you can see here on that chart, this huge spike obviously was the Brexit referendum. UK made a judgment call. Do we want to stay within the European Union or do you want to leave it? And everybody in the market, pretty much everybody, obviously have been caught on the wrong foot. Everybody assumed Great Britain will say, sure, we will stay, no problem at all. And once people realized, wait, it's going the other way, and we have no clue whatsoever what the economical implications might be, this market tanked. It tanked really, it fell really hard. And you can see the huge volatility. You can see within 1 week, within one session, prices trading to new highs, clear new uptrend here, to, oh, ever so deep. All within 1 week, all within one session. And if we drill down and look at this on a daily chart or even on an hourly chart, 15-minute, 5-minute chart, this move happened fast, it happened furiously. And you see the spike in both directions. Any normal market order, any normal position, is it via CFD, is it via stock, is it as a future position, you would have been taken out of that position very fast and without any mercy, because the volatility made price swings in both directions. Even if you finally picked the direction right and said it's going down, this volatility would have killed your stop positions. And this is one of the perfect examples why trading binaries is really such a great tool and such a great opportunity and such a powerful instrument to have on your tool bench. with binaries, your risk is limited, which means, yes, you say it's going down, but if it spikes up here or here or here, it doesn't matter. Your downside is definitely capped, and it's not capped by a stop, which could occur a ton of slippage. No, it's really just by the way this contract has been defined and built. Your downside is completely protected. And just think about the different opportunities that arise with this kind of trading opportunity. Usually here at Trade with Position, we always say, if such a news event is known to happen, and this Brexit referendum was clear that this was about to happen. When the Fed is meeting to discuss interest rates, those dates usually are announced. Unless it's really some absolute emergency, those dates are clear and well known in advance. And our take on those events is always, we don't want to have a position in that market. But with binaries, you can protect your downside, or the downside is automatically protected. And for that reason, suddenly those news events become really easily tradable. And by easily mean to control the proper risk settings. I don't suggest it's easy to pick the right side. I don't suggest anything else is easy, but limiting your downside with these types of high volatility events, definitely a great way to do so with binary options. Now let's have a look and see what the British pound is doing right now. Huge spike, and obviously this huge spike now has started to give us, we have been in the downtrend before, just recently a slight move to the upside, but now switching back to this downtrend and we're going down. And if you again compare getting the trend, it's straightforward, it's absolutely easy, not rocket science. We have a look at what's going on here, and what you see here is that we are getting here a new low. And if we have no idea why I messed up my font and line color the way it is, I have to look into that later on. But if this is a low, then this here could be a new high, called a new high. Now we compare those lows and highs, and we can see that this now here is obviously a new lower low. We're making a lower low, and when we compare this high to that high here, what we get here is obviously a new lower high. So currently this market clearly is in a downtrend. And now what we're waiting for, we are getting bearish candles here in the sell zone. Those candles are way too large currently, no tradable setup there, but the direction here clearly goes to the downside. Now what we could do is drop down once more within our time frames, and I hope you see how powerful those different time frames are. They give you a very detailed view on one specific market. And once you understand the big picture and what this big market is doing, it's very, very powerful to be able to drop down in those time frames and then really pick that window of time frames that support your trading decision. And you have seen with silver, yes, big picture from the weekly and the daily is up, but the daily and the weekly also suggest that we might have a short-term correction. And if we drop down the time frames now, we see a perfect trading opportunity just setting up on the 5-minute chart, and suddenly everything falls in place. The big picture supports it, the lower time frames, roaring setup, go for it, and everything fits together. And usually you want to see those multiple time frames supporting each other. Think of it as a lot of people pulling on strings attached to one object. And you want to have those people pull in sync in the same direction, because then this move really has the potential to be very strong and powerful, and that's what we want to see here. And so now we have seen here on British pound that obviously we're pushing lower. Monthly and weekly are definitely due for a correction. Nevertheless, daily still should suggest that we might go lower. And if we now find a trading opportunity setting up here on lower time frames, we might be looking into those. And you see here on the 30-minute chart yesterday, about 24 hours ago. Nice move to the downside, completely supported here on the 16-minute chart. And if we look at the 2-hour chart, not as perfect, but the big picture is the same, supporting that kind of setup. That is what we're looking for. These are the types of setups that we want to see there. Now, let's just have briefly a look at, let's have a look at oil. Oil is also rather interesting because with oil, obviously, huge spike up, and we have been trading lower. And this move here lower, let me just look. Yeah, we pushed lower, and now we're trading here around this. We tested the 50 level, and 50 has been pretty much rejected. And you can see the small bearish candle setting up here on the monthly chart in the sell zone. Next month, the current month, candle is still printing, suggests a move to the downside. And the weekly, obviously, it has started to form a new uptrend here. We've seen a higher high, higher low, higher high. Now we're pulling back and could be still changing to an uptrend here, but I'm not really that sure about it. And looking at the daily, definitely we can see we have rolled over and making new lower highs and lower lows. Now, currently, we're very close to our sell zone. It's not a trading opportunity here there yet, but we might drop down in our time frames again. And you see, it's always that same picture. And we're looking for trading opportunities there. And here, looking at this 54.25 level, we have several precise touches of this level here. You can see indicator momentum picking up, and there we break to the downside here on this 4-hour chart as well. Haven't looked at their setup yet in so much detail, but yeah, you see the patterns are the same independent of time frame. Silver was a 5-minute chart or a monthly chart. Now with WTI crude oil, we're getting this pretty much the same setup, same strategy, same whole trading approach on a 4-hour chart. Different markets, different time frames, the patterns are always the same. All right, everybody. I think that's it for the live part. We still have some slides to show you guys. And by all means, if there are any questions in between, please let them keep coming. Keep them coming, and I'll try to answer those questions then once the official part is done, so that those of you who have to leave are free to do so. The strategies I have shown you today, you can learn everything about those strategies. No hidden secrets, no special indicators, no nothing. And you can learn about those strategies here directly at Nadex in the advanced education courses. 3-hour educational package presented by my colleagues and myself here at Trade with Precision over 3 installments. It's 3 sessions you attend as a webinar, no need to travel somewhere, from the convenience of your home. It's absolutely, you can learn the way you want to learn. We are always doing those sessions as live webinars, which it's really important for us that you are able to ask questions. We think trading is very much about communication, and you must be able to ask stuff. It's not good if I just tell you something and you're on your own. We think this dialogue is really important. Of course, nobody can prevent you from going now to our Trade with Precision homepage, have a look around, and discover that there's a potential setup there, or potential educational packages covering approximately the same content, and you will find that those packages would cost you over $500. No need to spend that money. As I said, I don't want to sell you anything. Or if you have that funded account or are here a member of Nate, an active member at Nadex, it's absolutely free for you to attend those webinars. So no need for you to spend some money there. You're all good to go with this funded account. Now, In part 1 of this webinar series, you will learn about our technical indicators, the technical ingredients. We always think about it as just baking a chocolate cake. You want to understand what you're using there. And staying in that picture, we will teach you everything about our eggs, we will teach you everything about our butter, about the flour, and of course about the chocolate and everything else that has to go in there. We present to you those technical analysis tools that we have found for our very own trading to be the most reliable ones. We think trend and price action analysis is always king. It's always indicators are just a second level of confirmation or the icing on the cake. You want to understand what price is doing. I could have turned off all the different indicators and moving averages and all that stuff on my charts, and I'm pretty sure I would have come to the same assessment and I would have found the same trade setups. It's all in price. Those other things just make it easier for you to really see what's going on there and be able to really identify those setups faster, but it's all there in price. Swing trading versus day trading, you just pick your different time frames, and I think I've walked you today through many different time frames, and you've seen that there are definitely trading opportunities from the monthly charts down to 5-minute charts or even lower. And this again is of course a perfect fit for the different expiry cycles which are available here at Nadex for your trading. So you just pick the speed of the market and your assessment of the speed, and then you pick the according products here from the product list. You will learn about the technical ingredients to focus on and those to ignore. I think there's a lot of noise in the market, and you want to cut through this noise and really have a look at the real basics and see what's going on there. In week number 2, you will learn about our trading strategies. Multiple time frame analysis, you've seen it today. It just helps to improve our winning and trading probabilities. And that are all the ingredients of our strategies. Every factor you identify stacks the odds just a little bit more in your favor. We have seen both of those strategies that you can learn about live in action here in this live webinar. The momentum breakout strategy, the breakout with high momentum out of a flat level, first in silver, now very briefly towards the end in oil as well. And also the trend flow strategy, those smooth flowing trends with those pullbacks to those equilibrium levels and low risk opportunities to join the prevailing trend. You can attend as many sessions as you like. There is no limit. You can re-attend. It's always interesting to re-attend those sessions always. Usually it's not always the same presenter doing those sessions, and everybody is explaining things a little bit differently, so no harm in attending there multiple times. Now you might think, come on, we know now everything. We know the strategies, we know the ingredients. Why is there a third week? And we think it's really important to see all this stuff in action, to really see how it works out, how it plays out. You will see lots of different examples, and it's actually really hands-on practice to understand what's going on there and how can those setups really then be traded with binaries and spreads here at Nadex. Momentum breakout trades, trend flow trades, and stuff which usually is something that we want and try to avoid with conventional instruments. Suddenly it becomes tradable with binaries, and this will be of course gaps trading, news trades, and stuff like that. Live market scan for trading opportunities, just like we did today. Q&A session, if anything is not clear after those webinars, after the first two, by all means, just as always, just keep on asking those questions. All right, everybody, take your trading further with Nadex. Here, we want to tell you guys how you can get started. Multiple ways to be in touch with Nadex. You can give those good guys a call or send an email. You have the numbers here on the phone. I highly suggest, if you haven't done so, to really try out that demo account. That demo account usually is really a good way to get used to the platform and to get a good understanding and handling how everything works, and just to get a feeling for the way things are being done here at Nadex. All right. As I said, the advanced education package if you already are a member here at Nadex. Yeah, Phil, thanks for that question. When can I attend those 3 parts? You are now on that email distribution list as you have signed up for this webinar. Once those sessions come online, my understanding is that you will be informed, and going from that email, you can just really sign up for those sessions from there. All right. Bart is asking about education in different time frames and time zones. I take that as a valuable feedback. Thanks for that, and we'll pass it on to the guys responsible for setting up those webinars. Would be happy to do so. All right. Are there any more questions right now? Bart, no problem. I got you. Now. All right, we seem to be good from the questions, so please visit our homepage, visitnadex.com, sign up, log into your account, sign up for a demo account, or if anything is not clear, really give those good guys a call or send them an email and be in touch with them. They are more than happy to help you. All right, so that would be the end for today's webinar. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did and that you found it useful. Sign up for the Nadex Advanced Education course at the webinar series once you have joined Nadex and are a member. And usually after this webinar, there is always a short survey, and any feedback would be really appreciated. Anything that helps us to improve those sessions and give you exactly what you are looking for and what you want to learn from those sessions would be really appreciated. We are doing those sessions for you, so they should meet your needs. All right, everybody. For me, it's been a pleasure. Thank you much, everybody, for attending and the really great participation. And now, a very great day to all of you. Happy trading. Take care. Thanks again, and bye-bye.